Hello, and welcome back once again. It's your boy William, here to talk about giant robots. This time around, we will be doing something completely different. A while back, a viewer of ours named Kevin Williams, great last name by the way, requested, quote, "Can you do a list of all G Gundam suits from all Neo nations A through Z? It's my favorite Gundam show of all times." Absolutely, Kevin. Any excuse to talk about giant robots and I am there. So based on what Kevin asked for, we will be listing all suits from the anime, not just the Gundams, from every Neo nation A through Z. So that means we won't be going over any technical data or ranking these suits, just listing them Neo nation A through Z. So let's get this thing started. Neo America. As always, it's America first, baby. And starting things off with a punch, we have Neo America's entry into the Gundam Fight Tournament, the GF13-006NA Gundam Maxter, piloted by the all-American boxing legend and New York native Chibody Crockett. Flashy, functional, and formidable, this machine was one of the strongest of its age. Up next, we have the transformable 29H-A-MS Murphy, which only makes a brief appearance in the anime when two of them, piloted by Department of Defense officials, who are named after aircraft companies, get beat down by the honorable Chibody Crockett and Domon Kashio. Take that, military-industrial complex! Neo Canada. Moving to the north, we find Neo Canada, and its entry into the Gundam fight, the GF13-037NCA Lumber Gundam, or Grizzly Gundam, depending upon which version you watch. Piloted by the manly and revenge-minded Andrew Graham, this heavyweight fighter was a staple in the series and a thorn in the side of Neo-Russia. Neo-China. Across the pond, we make our way to Neo-China, the land of ancient fables involving dragons and a rich history of martial arts tradition. Appropriately, its entry into the Gundam fight is the GF13-011NC Dragon Gundam. Piloted by the youngest Gundam fighter ever, Saisaishi, this awesome machine was one of the most ferocious and most powerful suits in the entire anime. Neo Cuba. Shifting focus to the largest island in the Caribbean, we find ourselves focused on Neo Cuba and its entry into the 13th Gundam fight, the GF13-083NCB Arachno Gundam. Piloted by Frank Gastro, this suit is quite similar to Neo Canada's entry as it is a heavyweight that relies on brute strength and its aptly named but wrongly numbered Arachno Claws. Neo Denmark. Swimming our way over to the home of the iconic Little Mermaid statue, we come to the land of Neo Denmark and its entry into the Gundam fight, the GF13-026ND Mermaid Gundam. Piloted by Hans Holger, this transformable mobile suit is formidable in both modes but nearly invincible in fish mode where it resembles a shark with frickin' laser beams. Speaking of fish mode, we come to the next 6 entries from Neo Denmark that all resemble a real-life animal. First up is the Ankau Gundam, which resembles an anglerfish. Surprisingly, it isn't named after the first child of Adam and Eve and personification of death in Breton mythology, but instead research indicates that apparently its name Ankau means angler in Japanese, despite being from Denmark. Second is the Ebi Gundam, which resembles a shrimp. Sadly, it is not named after the Iranian pop vocalist Ebi, but instead it takes its name from the Japanese word for shrimp. Third is the Ai Gundam, which resembles a stingray, and despite its lettering, it isn't named after artificial intelligence, but, like the first two, apparently it takes its name from the Japanese word for stingray. Noticing a pattern yet? Fourth in line, we have the Hirame Gundam. Resembling a flounder, this Gundam takes its name from a word that itame everywhere and those who frequent sushi restaurants are familiar with, the Japanese word for flounder. Fifth on the fryer, we have the Kani Gundam. Resembling a crab, it, just like the others, takes its name from the Japanese word for crab, and at this point, if you are thinking about sushi again, no one would blame you. Finally, the Seafood 6 finishes up with the Gundam Octopus, or Taco Gundam. At this point, you know the score and how the names work. Interestingly enough, all of these mobile suits appear briefly in the anime and were all prototypes used in the creation process of the Mermaid Gundam. Neo Egypt. Moving southward, we focus on a nation filled with some of the oldest landmarks in history, Neo Egypt, and its entry into the 3rd and 4th Gundam fights, the GF4-001NE Pharaoh Gundam 4. Piloted by perpetual adversary of Neo China, Dahal Muhammad, this machine won the 3rd Gundam fight and lost the 4th. It makes a triumphant return during the 13th Gundam fight to challenge Neo China once again. Up next, we have Neo Egypt's entry into the 13th Gundam fight, the GF13-051NE Pharaoh Gundam 13. Piloted by a man that we never get to see in the anime, Karu Ramses, this machine meets with a mysterious set of circumstances that ended it and its pilot's life, resulting in very limited screen time. Finally, we come to Neo Egypt's most impressive suit, the Sphinx Gundam. Little is known about this machine other than it functions as an oh shit button of sorts, because we see it and many others joining together to fight a powerful enemy at the very end of the anime. Neo England. Next up, we head to the land of fish and chips, Neo England, and its entry into the 13th Gundam fight, the GF13-003NEL John Bull Gundam, or the Royal Gundam. Piloted by the crafty 3-time Gundam fight champion, Gentle Chapman, and used in many beguiling ways, this proper Gundam was made specifically for Chapman after he earned Neo England 3 straight Gundam fight wins. Unlike the vast majority of the suits in this anime, the John Bull Gundam is primarily long range and makes fantastic use of tactical ambushes. Speaking of those ambushes, we turn the focus to the shady MET-6-MS. Piloted remotely by Manon Chapman, Gentle's wife, this machine serves as one piece of a large network of machines that allows Chapman to use his preferred long-range ambush style of attack. It is designed to look extremely similar and to engage the enemy in order to reveal its location to Chapman. Neo France. To the land of croissants and sexual liberty we go to find the next entry, Neo France's Mirage Gundam. This Gundam was apparently not good enough for a model number and coincidentally not good enough to win the right to represent its country in the Gundam fight, nor was it good enough to be talked about any longer than this. Moving on, we find grace, elegance, and chivalry embodied with the GF13-009NF Gundam Rose. Resembling Napoleon and piloted by Georges Descent as the representative for Neo France in the 13th Gundam fight, this mecha makes use of its pilot's incredible fencing skills in conjunction with its rose bits to stand amongst the best of the best in the 13th Gundam fight. Shifting focus to the front lines, we have the NF-MS81 Godaro. Serving as the main infantry unit for Neo France's defense army, this suit is an integral piece of the country's operations and sees use in a vast array of situations, up to and including guarding the princess. Finally, we have Zach's favorite suit from the series, the NEL-75C Butler Bensoman. Piloted by Georges Descent's butler, Raymond Bishop, this instructional mobile suit has one of the more entertaining designs that we will see here today. It is controlled with a literal steering wheel, and as far as I know, it is the only mobile suit in all of Gundam to use such a control mechanism. Neo Germany. Now we shift focus to the land of Lederhosen and ninjas? With the fabulous GF13-021NG Gundam Spiegel, or Gundam Shadow. This spectacular machine is arguably the most powerful suit in the anime and makes use of some very cool Germanic ninjutsu and technology to smash its enemies. By the way, is Germanic ninjutsu real? Someone from Germany, please let us know in the comments. Neo Greece. Moving on to the land of the gods, we set our sights on Neo Greece's GF13-002NGR Zeus Gundam. Piloted by Marcelo Kronos, who probably plays center for the Neo Greece basketball team, this machine proves time and again in the anime that it is one of the very best. It is armed with legendary weapons, can fly, and has its own fucking chariot. Neo Holland. Up next is easily one of the most ridiculous Gundam designs ever conceived. Neo Holland's GF13-06ND Nether Gundam. Piloted by the subpar Rutger Verhaven, this comedic mobile suit is actually still relatively well armed with several hidden beam cannons. Neo Hong Kong. Shifting focus, we now look at Neo Hong Kong's GF13-00NH Kowloon Gundam. This suit was designed specifically for one of the greatest characters and mobile suit pilots to ever live, Master Asia. As such, it is highly mobile and makes use of Master Asia's cloth to wreck shit and soundly defeat anyone that faces it. Neo Hong Kong's other mobile suit just happens to be the GF13-001NH2 Master Gundam. Pretty much a supercharged version of the Kowloon Gundam, this mobile suit absolutely dominates during the vast majority of its screen time. Master Asia is truly like a master swordsman using a specially crafted blade to unleash unlimited undoing upon his unsuspecting and unlucky opponents. Finally, we start horsing around with Neo Hong Kong's second coolest suit, the personalized mechanization of Funsaiki. If you're wondering, yes, it has a mobile trace system, and awesome people decided to give us this to prove it. This mech serves as Master Asia's and Domon's personal steed. Neo India. From the land that produced the Taj Mahal and the Kama Sutra, we have the GF13-030NIN Cobra Gundam. Playing the role of recurring villain, this suit has its own snake pot, snake charmer flute that also doubles as a sword, and it can transform from snake mode to humanoid mode. Another solid accomplishment for the people of India. Neo Iraq. Moving to the land of ancient Mesopotamia, we have the Scud Gundam, which is based on the more recent history of that region in that it is based off of the Scud missiles that were used in the Gulf War between August 2nd, 1990 and January 17th, 1991. It is on the screen briefly before being defeated by Neo America's Gundam Maxter, so we don't get to see much of its capabilities. Neo Italy. Up next, hailing from the land of the Gabagool and the Roman Empire, we have Neo Italy's Neros Gundam, which bears a resemblance to a Roman soldier and is piloted by an actual mob boss. Imagine Tony Soprano with his own Gundam, and you'll get an idea of just how this mech was used. It is one of the most fearsome recurring villains and plays an integral role in the anime's story. Neo Japan. We now transition to the land of the rising sun and this wonderful art form called anime that we all love. First off is the Kappa Gundam, something that appears only briefly in the anime but is based on something that appears frequently in Japanese folklore, the Kappa, which is basically a cucumber-loving sumo wrestling turtle-human hybrid that is often accused of assaulting humans. Next up is the tried and true GF13-017NJ Shining Gundam. This suit serves as the main suit for Domon for roughly the first half of the anime. It is a powerful mech in Domon's hands and is well suited to his abilities. It is a member of the group of machines designed by Dr. Mikamura on behalf of Neo Japan. Improving upon the last model, we have the GF13-017NJ2 God Gundam. Now this here is what a titular mobile suit looks like up close. It is Domon's final suit and carries us all the way through to the end of the anime. It is an upgraded version of its predecessor, and in Domon's hands it contends as one of the most powerful suits in the entire anime. Staying with Dr. Mikamura's creations, we look at the JMF-1336R Rising Gundam. Arguably the best armed suit in the pack, this machine is the sister Gundam of the Shining Gundam, and it shows, as it has a high level of performance and kicks a high amount of ass. Japan certainly had an embarrassment of riches in the Gundam department. Moving on, we find the JMA-27T Phantoma in our sights. Being one of the only known mobile armors in this universe, The Phantoma is designed in a way that resembles the Big Zan, and even has armor plating made of Big Zanium alloy super ceramic composite. It appears very briefly in the anime, which is why you may not even remember that it existed. Falling in next is the JMS-60 Bushi. This bad boy right here functions as the Space Colony Defense Unit for Neo Japan. It highly resembles the Guf, and to a lesser extent the Zaku, because its armor is made of Zakurium alloy, which follows the theme of Neo Japan Defense mobile suits resembling classic suits from the original Mobile Suit Gundam. Keeping up with the theme, next we have the JMS-71 Nobushi. Resembling a GM and being made of Geminium, this suit served as a general-purpose mobile suit for Neo Japan. It was mainly used as a mobile infantry unit with weapons similar to that of a GM. Neo Kenya. Moving on, we find our way to Neo Kenya and the GF-13-020 NK Gundam Zebra. Featuring one of the more animalistic and unique Gundam designs across the entire franchise, this machine saw extensive use in the anime and the 13th Gundam fight. Its armaments were relatively few but well used, thus making it a worthy entrant into the 13th Gundam fight. Neo Malaysia. Up next is Neo Malaysia's GF-13-047 NMA Skull Gundam. Once again, a very unique design, being one of the only suits across the entire franchise that actually has human-like toes on the suit's feet, as well as featuring a bulky skull-shaped body. Mainly serving in the villain role, this machine was used in a manner befitting its appearance. Meo Mexico. It's fucking party time, Meo Mexico style, with what is probably the greatest mech design ever conceived, the GF-13-049 NM Tequila Gundam. Beyond its looks, it has a lot of the what-if factor going on due to the fact that it was used more as an escape pod and not as a Gundam fighter in the show. We're told that there's apparently some other name for this machine, but we don't know what it is because Tequila Gundam is a legendary name that stands amongst the greatest of all. The party is winding down and it's getting a little fishy with the P-143S Pescator. Like its Gundam countrymen, this mobile suit was designed for underwater combat. In this case, the concept is taken to the absolute extreme, as this suit is designed to be as aquadynamic as possible all the way down to its weaponry and its shape. Neo Mongolia. Bearing the birth name of its most famous citizen, we have Neo Mongolia's GF-13-053 NMO Temjin Gundam. It is much like the Shining Gundam, except it makes use of scimitars instead of its fists. Its pilot is never seen either and has a name on par with the likes of Tathagata Killer. His name is Kill Harn. Neo Nepal. Now we're going to kick it Nepalese style with another mysterious suit, the GF-11-033 NNP Tantra Gundam. Pretty much all we know is that this suit fought in the 11th Gundam fight and it performed well. Given those massive claws and that sleek look, it damn well should have. Next up is perhaps the most unbelievable entry on this list, Neo Nepal's GF-13-044 NP Mandala Gundam. This machine is easily one of the most unique designs in any Gundam series, and on top of that, its pilot is supernaturally gifted, like Ray Charles. It makes use of very little weaponry in the form of this thing that I can't pronounce, which is part beam saber and part flamethrower. It accomplishes a great deal and contends on the world stage with ease. Neo Norway. Neo Norway is on the horizon with its GF-13-012 NN Viking Gundam, complete with its own Langskip named Oseberg and a horned helmet. This machine was good enough to make it far into the tournament despite its relatively small screen time. It boasts an arsenal of armaments and makes great use of them. Neo Poland. Showing up for Neo Poland without the clogs, we have the Gundam Magnat. Despite its objectively poor performance in comparison to its peers, this mobile suit made it farther than most in the Gundam fight and held its own. Truly the unlikely underdog success story. Neo Portugal. On deck, we have Neo Portugal's GF13-039NP Jester Gundam. Despite its name, this mech is no laughing matter and is as equally bizarre as it is powerful. This suit is able to duplicate other techniques, transform into a spinning top of death, and has armaments on just about every inch of its body. This mech was well used and made it very far into the tournament. Neo Russia. Smashing its way onto the list, we have Neo Russia's GF13-013NR Bolt Gundam. Being one of the main character suits, it is very powerful and relatively unarmed, mainly using its graviton hammer, which functions much like a flail. This mech also holds the distinction of having the most raw strength of any suit in the anime, due to its impressive Victor engine. It ends up being well utilized and successful on the field of battle. Neo Siberia. Straight out of the ancient past, we have Neo Siberia's GF11-042NSB Mammoth Gundam. This mech chooses to go away from the traditional humanoid style design, instead opting for that of a giant mastodon. It was hard to maneuver and highly powerful. Beyond that, not much is known other than its fate. Neo Singapore. Bringing us yet another peculiar design, we have Neo Singapore's GF13-041NSI Ashura Gundam. This suit is not only multi-armed, but well-armed, and as if that wasn't enough, it has modular transformation capabilities that include many different forms made from the same pieces. It was a terrifying foe and was used in an ultimately honorable way. Neo Spain. Neo Spain's GF13-045NSP Matador Gundam is not about the bullshit. Boasting a relatively hilarious design, this suit is equipped with heated horns, a saber, and a beam cloth. It is also capable of transforming into a giant rocket-propelled bull's head. Hilarious. Neo Sweden. Sailor Moon fans rejoice. You were the target audience for this one. Neo Sweden's GF13-050 NSW Noble Gundam. Despite its ridiculous appearance and this magical noise, this machine is a fearsome bringer of death that stands side by side with some of the very best in the anime. It is armed with a beam ribbon to ribbon dance opponents to death, and as if that wasn't enough, it even has a beam hula hoop. The most terrifying aspect of this suit is its berserker system, which opens the pilot up to outside control and sends them into an all-consuming rage that brings out 120% of the pilot's fighting ability. Neo Turkey. Moving on to the last country on the list, we have the GF13-052NT Minaret Gundam. This machine almost made our top 10 list because it looks really cool and it uses curved swords.
You see those warriors from Hammerfell? They've got curved swords. Curved swords.
It plays an interesting role in the series and ends up being a truly fearsome opponent. Well, that wraps up the list of all the countries and their respective mobile suits that appear in the anime, and even though we were only asked to do all the suits from each country, that doesn't quite cover all of the suits in the anime, now does it, Kevin? So settle in because we're not quite done here. Death Army! Kicking off the list of bad guys, we have the versatile and plentiful JDG-009X Death Army. This suit served as the main infantry unit for the similarly named Death Army, and was armed with spiked knuckles on its forearms and a ruthlessly efficient beam rifle that is shaped like a club, which can therefore be used to smack a mobile suit over the head. This mobile suit was adapted into many other variations and models. Speaking of variations, we have the first, which is the Death Beast. Designed as a more powerful ground assault specialist, this mobile suit functions as a mobile gun platform and features a more powerful version of the standard Death Army rifle that shoots conventional rounds instead of being a beam weapon. Next up, we take to the skies with the Death Birdie. Clearly, this mobile suit functions as the main unit for the Devil Gundam's Air Force. The Death Birdie accomplishes its purpose by strapping a regular Death Army unit into a winged harness that has beam rifles integrated into both of its claws, once again following the themes of efficiency and modularity. Karate kicking its way into the next spot, we have the Death Dragon. Resembling the Dragon Gundam, this unit functioned as a special forces unit of sorts, being basically a regular Death Army unit that is outfitted with all of the same equipment as the Dragon Gundam. It was used effectively to sow the seeds of confusion and could perform almost everything that its real counterpart could. Following the same theme of karate kicks and impersonation, up next we have the Death Master, which can do almost everything its real counterpart can do, being that it boasts a similarly high level of movement capability and is equipped with its own master cloth. Definitely the coolest and strongest of the Death Army units. I'm not biased, I swear to God. Finally, we have Death Navy, which is clearly the main unit of the Devil Gundam's naval operations. Functioning exactly like the Death Birdie, this model incorporates a submarine-like fuselage that allows the Death Navy to travel in water above or below the surface. Moving up the ranks, we come to the Grand Gundam. Without giving away too much of the plot, suffice it to say this machine is one of the strongest units in the Death Army and is the direct superior to all Death Army ground units. It is an ultra-heavy assault-style weapon that incorporates DG cells and was clearly designed to employ overwhelming strength, size, and firepower to crush anything before it. The Grand Gundam can also transform into an attack mode, which resembles a standing elephant. Moving up once more in rank and size, we have the Grand Master Gundam. This is easily the most powerful unit in the Death Army and is only surpassed by the Devil Gundam itself. This mobile suit is a colossal combination of the 4 Heavenly Kings and as such has access to all of their capabilities and weapons. Truly a fearsome opponent with a literal arsenal at its disposal. Sliding back down the ranks, we come to something that is less suit and more snake, the Gundam Head. Being basically a snake's body with a fanged Gundam head, this machine isn't anything special, but it remains well used and a thorn in the side of everyone who faces the Death Army. Returning to the management structure, we have the Gundam Heaven's Sword, or Soaring Raven Gundam. As the leader of the Death Army's Air Force, this suit is basically an aerial version of the Grand Gundam in that it has an overwhelming amount of destructive force at its disposal, but in a less obvious way and more efficient way that revolves around using its wings, claws, and the darts attached to its wings. Now we have the brains of the operation and the main antagonist, the JDG-00X Devil Gundam. Without getting too far into the story, suffice it to say that based on its equipment and capabilities, this is easily one of the most frightening enemies in any Gundam series, and it's all thanks to nanomachines. This machine takes many forms and evolves into things that blur the line between technology and biology, while serving as a warning to those that would empower governments and scientists to usurp and subvert biology through the use of godlike technology. Last in line is the slightly less powerful but equally horrifying Walter Gundam. Serving as the leader of the Death Army's naval forces, this strange suit was designed with adaptability in mind, as it is able to travel by land, air, and sea. It accomplishes this by being able to alter its body at will, up to and even including turning itself into an impenetrable ball. Shuffle Alliance! Kicking off the final faction on our list, we have the Black Joker. Not much is shown of this suit, so we don't know much about it. However, we do know that it makes use of beam chains and transforms into a golden ball instead of having its own mobile armor mode like the others. Next up is the Club Ace. Using its high speed and transformable abilities, it turns high-speed punches into high-speed beam shots from its beam cannons. It can transform into a gigantic club-shaped mobile armor form to travel and attack at high speeds. Following up with the second most ridiculous name in the anime, we have the Jack in Diamond. Yes, that is the suit's name. Please Google it if you don't believe me. This member of the Shuffle Alliance makes use of a flamethrower as its main weapon, and like the others, it can transform into a giant, high-speed diamond that enables it to use its ultimate attack. Finally, with the third most ridiculous name, we have Queen the Spade. It uses throwing knife techniques in conjunction with beam daggers to unleash a torrent of attacks in quick fashion. Like its counterparts, it can transform into a giant high-speed spade. Truly a ridiculous group of mobile suits. Before we end the show, there are a few final points of interest. Be warned that spoilers for a 90s anime await you. During the events of the final 3 episodes, a certain general reveals his past, and then the Gundam Federation stands up to protect the Earth. In the lead up to and during the commotion of these events, we get to see a few mobile suits that we've never seen before, and some that fans of the series will recognize. The only plot-relevant suit that we see here is Ulube's Gundam. Not a lot is known about this suit, including its name and model number, but we do know that it fought for Neo Japan, lost to Master Asia, looks cool, and we only get to see it for about 15 seconds, which means it's technically still a suit in the anime. Finally, we come to the cameo section. In the final few episodes, there are several cameos from some incredibly surprising places. First up, we have this scene, which features the XXXG-01 Gundam Wing, here on the right, and I'm not sure what this is on the left. If you know, please tell me in the comments. Moving on to this scene, we have the GPO-2A nestled in between the Noble and Mandala Gundam. Here we see a GM on the left of the Noble Gundam, something that I'm not sure of in the middle, and what looks like the top of a gun tank on the right. Here we have the original RX-78 on the left and another GM on the right. Here we see the GPO-1 drifting above the Earth. One more shot of the Kappa Gundam here just to the left of the Noble Gundam. We see the Wing Gundam one more time here, but all by itself. Here we see our first non-Gundam mecha in the form of Zambot 3 from Invincible Superman Zambot 3 on the right. In the middle, we have what I believe to be the Gundam Mark II, and moving over a little, we have another non-Gundam mech, Dytron 3, from Invincible Steelman Dytarn 3. Next up is another shot of GPO-1, and here we have the Victory Gundam tucked in behind these 3. Now here we have quite a few suits. We have placed numbers next to them to make this easier, so let's get this rolling. Number 1 is clearly placed on the shoulder of the OG RX-78 Gundam. To the right of number 2, we have the GPO-3 Dendrobium. To the left of 3, we have another appearance of Zambot 3. Just above 4, we have a gun cannon. Not exactly sure which suit this is above 5, but based on its chest and skirt armor, I would posit that it is in fact the F-91, even though the arms are oddly colored red. To the right of 6 is another appearance of Dytarn 3. Just above 7 is another sighting of GPO-1. To the right of 8 is a complete mystery to me. If you know what this is, please tell us in the comments. To the right of 9 is yet another complete mystery. Again, please let us know in the comments if you recognize this mech. Moving on to the final scene of interest, we have quite a few yet again. To the left of 1, we have the final and most prominent sighting of Zambot 3 in all its glory. To the right of 2, and nestled in behind the subtitles, we have the GPO-2A once more. To the right of 3 is the Zeta Gundam. To the right of 4 is another mystery suit. After extensive research, I think this might be Combat Mecha Zabungo, but it lacks the distinctive wings, so I am not confident enough to state this with certainty. To the left of 5 and behind the Zebra Gundam is another sighting of the Wing Gundam. To the right of 6 is another absolute mystery to me. At first I thought that it was maybe the Zeus Gundam due to similar colors, but this is clearly not the same mech. Just above 7, displayed prominently, is the F-91. And finally, just underneath 8 is obviously a flying potato spaceship of doom! One last time, I would like to ask that anyone with information about the unidentified mechas, please come forward and let us know in the comments. We want this to be as comprehensive as possible, and we offer our deepest gratitudes and appreciation to anyone who may end up helping us in this endeavor. Well, that does it. This was one hell of a list to compile, and I personally had no idea just how many mechs were in this anime until I got deep into the list. Big thanks to Kevin Williams for requesting this and for being patient with us while we put together this mighty collection of mecha. This was a thoroughly enjoyable experience, and we here at the Webinar thank you for watching. If you like this video, remember to like and subscribe for more content like this, and if you would like to weigh in on any of these suits, we would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. That's it and that's all. See you in the next ranking video. Peace.
Viewers, we have an update. In response to Neo-Japan's coup d'etat, the United Federation of Colonies is breaking their ceasefire agreement. Also, Neo-America has taken the first step by detaching their Manhattan combat area to stage an attack.
But why are they doing that?
America, America.